welcome to Would I Lie to You, the show where honesty is never the best policy. On Lee Mack's team tonight, a comedian who studied quasi-zero-dimensional mesoscopic electrical systems at university. Just to explain that to Lee, university is like a school for grown-ups. Ben Miller. And a comedian who used to work in a German sausage factory. He said the worst part was delicious. And on David Mitchell's team tonight, an actress currently starring in the sitcom Plebs, set in ancient Rome, where she enjoys being attended to by slaves and taking part in orgies. I'm afraid tonight it's just a box of Twiglets. Doon McKeehan. And a man who has a degree in sports journalism. It's a 2-2. It would have been a 2-1, but they equalised in the last minute. From the last leg, Alex Brooker. So to round one, Home Truths, where our panellists each read out a statement from the card in front of them. Now, to make things harder, they've never seen the card before. They've no idea what they'll be faced with, and it's up to the opposing team to sort the fact from the fiction. Ben is first up tonight. Please reveal all.
Aside from my friend Mark Park, I have...
I think we can end it there.
I have 3 other good friends whose names rhyme.
Let's not rush any questions. Just never mind rushing.
I'm sorry, Ben, I'm going to have to ask you for the names of the friends.
Very quickly, right now.
You take your time.
Richard Pritchard.
That rhymes, to be fair.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Mark Park.
No, we've had Mark Park. There's three other friends on top of Mark Park.
Richard Pritchard.
You need 2 more.
Dave Clave.
Clave?
Yeah. Angie Ranji.
And what's Richard Pritchard's job? How do you know him?
I know him from school, and he's a quantity surveyor.
How do you know Angie Ranji? Where did you meet her?
Well, funnily enough, she was in an acting class with me on the Isle of Wight.
Where did you run into Dave Clave?
Please say her, Rave.
I was in a band with him, he played drums.
So, all of these people have lived their lives with matching forenames, surnames. Have none of them ever, said, you know what, I think this sounds ridiculous, I might change it?
Well, Richard hasn't, because, it's a common Welsh name. It is particularly common to have the same first name as your surname.
Hugh Hughes.
Evan Evans, Thomas Thomas.
Yeah.
I bet you're wishing you thought of them earlier.
These friends of yours, are they in a small social circle? For example, has Richard Pritchard ever met Angie Ranji?
Dave Clave has met Richard Pritchard.
Under what circumstances?
My 40th birthday
Why
party.
didn't Angie Ranji go?
I was in a production of Twelfth Night with Angie Ranji on the Isle of Wight, and we only knew each other for the period of one summer in about 1991. She was a friend of mine, but she wasn't at my 40th birthday, whereas Dave and Richard were.
And why did Mark Park not make the birthday party?
We're not that close of friends.
Oh. So why do you think you and Mark have never really... gelled?
Quantity survey. I guess,
So Mark's a quantity surveyor?
Yeah.
I thought Richard Pritchard was a quantity surveyor. What's Richard Pritchard again?
He's a chartered surveyor.
Chartered surveyor, yeah.
Which one? Are they both? Are they in a practice? Park and Pritchard?
Does this have the ring of truth?
Well, do you know, it did before the quantity surveyor. I think he said Richard Pritchard was the something surveyor.
He said chartered surveyor for Richard Pritchard.
And then
now we've got
then-
a quantity surveyor.
For Mark Park. But if the surveyor's thing is, if Ben has planted that surveyor doubt in our minds, then that's so brilliant it deserves the point.
I agree.
So I think.
So you're going to say
lie? Lie.
lie. Saying it's a lie. Ben, truth or lie?
It is a lie.
It's a lie. Ben doesn't have 4 good friends whose names rhyme. And Henning, you're next.
I was once arrested by border guards for illegally entering another country.
David's team, what do you think?
Which country?
It was in the mid-90s.
That's not a country.
No. And it was in Eastern Europe, so they changed names very quickly. So I'm not sure. It was either Czech Republic or Czechoslovakia. I don't know which.
You know what stage of its
exactly.
dissolution it was at. Yeah. And what was the problem?
I didn't have my passport
Right.
Where had you left your passport?
at home.
Who were you with, by the way? Were you on your own? Or
No, I
it-
was with a friend from back home, Pete.
Friends in the pit.
No, with a person called Pete.
Is that his real name? Or is that a nickname?
Pete.
Oh, Pete.
No, P-I-T.
Oh, Pete.
Oh, Pitt. It is called, he's called Pitt.
Like Brad Pitt, but
Yeah.
Pitt is his first name.
Otherwise, I would say Pete.
Yeah.
We were travelling on something that was called Schönes Wochenend-Ticket. And
That's German for National Express.
now what it is German for, you can use any train you like as long as it's a slow train.
We have that system with all of our trains.
National Rail.
OK, so you get off the train at the border.
You do.
Is it at that moment you realise you don't have your passport?
Yes. So we wanted to go into Czechoslovakia. So I didn't have my passport. So the obvious thing to do is don't go across where the border guards are, but go a mile off into the fields and cross there. If then someone wants to see your passport, you say, oh, I must have lost it.
Roughly how far into Czechoslovakia, in whatever form it was, were you?
I was about, give or take, a mile. I see in the distance, I see like 2 lights, 2 white lights. They're getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then I realise it's a Jeep. And then they're driving towards us.
I'm quite gripped by this story.
The Jeep then just stopped, and then there is 4 people jumping out with automatic rifles and dogs.
Automatic dogs.
What sort of dogs were they?
I didn't ask for their names, but
Neither did Alex.
they were terrifying dogs, probably Alsatians or something.
What happened? They're all around you. So
Well, they
what do
all
they say?
jump out with their rifles, don't they? And then saying, or whatever their language is. So, and then, yeah, and then we had to gain the Jeep, and then we were driving off into Czechoslovakia, and then we ended up in some woods. One of them jumps out, opens a gate that I didn't even see was there. Then there is some little wooden hut. And was someone in there that spoke German. We got on well with that fella, and our excuse was, they would say, we had no idea that we crossed the border.
Yeah.
So, and then, well, they didn't fully buy it, but they knew there was little point executing us.
What happens then?
And now the funny story begins. They said, you'll have to pay a penalty.
Oh, the Germans and penalties.
That
Not
penalty...
Never again, please.
Then the Czechs drove us back to the German border, handed us over to the German border guards, and then they congratulated us on being the first illegal immigrants from Germany into Czechoslovakia.
Well, there we are. David, what are you and your team thinking?
It's the travel card thing. It just seems right.
I think on an emotional level, having spent so long hearing that story, we need it to be true. Yeah. We need something.
We need it to be true
Yeah.
because a lot of our life went into that.
So
yes,
you're gonna
on
say
that
true?
emotional level, I think we have to say true.
You're saying it's true. Henning, truth or lie?
Well, that story is actually true.
Yes, that was true. Henning did get arrested for illegally entering another country. Our next round is called This Is My, where we bring on a mystery guest who has a close connection to one of our panellists. Now, this week, each of Lee's team will claim it's them that has the genuine connection to the guest, and it's up to David's team to spot who's telling the truth. So, please welcome this week's special guest, Nicola. So, Ben, first of all, what is Nicola to you?
This is Nicola, and she taught me how to talk to crows.
Henning, how do you know Nicola?
This is Nicola, and I told my parents to sack her as my babysitter because she failed to read my bedtime stories with enough emotion.
And finally, Lee, your relationship with Nicola.
This is Nicola. I once chased her for 40 miles down the M3 because I thought she'd stolen my phone.
David's team, where to begin?
So, Ben, why did you need to talk to crows?
Because, well, I'm writing a book, and
My publisher is a crow.
and it's a book about aliens. So I got interested in the idea of communicating with other intelligences. Then I thought, are there any animals on Earth that we can communicate with? And I found out that Nicola was an expert on crows and had discovered they're very intelligent.
So what sort of thing have you learnt to say to crows?
Well, we're only really at the basic sort of introductory.
Like Green's like, hello, how are you?
Take me to your leader.
How to present yourself to a crow.
How do you present yourself to a crow?
So you go,
Hello, crow. Hello, crow. How are you, crow? Hello. Hello.
So that's what Nicola has been teaching you. That's how you talk to crows. You do that with your head and you go, hello, crow. How are you? Hello. When's your next lesson? And you'll be
do you have to book?
how to say goodbye to a crow. And I've got a hunch about what it might be.
Right, David, who would you like to move on to?
Henning, what was wrong with the bedtime story?
I didn't enjoy the way she read the bedside story to me.
What sort of stories? Give us an example.
She was reading Hansel and Gretel to me, and then the witch ends up in the oven. And she read that in a very compassionate way.
towards the witch.
Yeah, and the good thing at that point is all about the witch got what she had coming, and that's how I like the story read to me.
You didn't like any complexity in the
No,
character
I
of the
like the
witch. The witch
complexity,
is
but I
ju-
don't like the compassion towards the witch because she's a witch.
Okay, so Hansel and Gretel shoved the witch in the oven, slammed the door, turned it up to gas mark 6.
No, always preheat the oven before cooking it.
Let's assume it's preheated.
Okay.
Slam the door, turn it up, and then walk out into the forest. How did she misdeliver that line?
Well, it was in German, so it was like...
Is she German?
Nicola, yeah.
You mean yeah?
Yeah.
Nicola's a classic German name, isn't it?
Nicola. Nicola Schmidt.
So she was what, weeping for the witch, or what? What's...
I don't want to have to say this now, but I just didn't overly like her. That's obviously not how I told it to my parents, isn't it? I said to my parents, I said, yeah, she didn't put any butter on the bread and all that business, and didn't get me anything to drink, so I mean...
So what did you do? I stuck her in the oven.
OK, what about Lee?
Oh, Lee's is not true. So, how did you come to the mistaken belief that she'd stolen your phone?
Well, it's an interesting story. I was on the border of Czechoslovakia. I was in a restaurant with my wife and children, and we left the restaurant and we got back to the house, and I suddenly realised my mobile phone was missing. So I thought... we came to the conclusion that my 2-year-old, who's always picking things up and running around tables because, you know, I'm not a good parent and they can run around in restaurants, had picked it up and had done something with it. And so I looked at my iPad, which has a thing on it where it tells you where your phone is, an app, if you've lost your phone. So I pressed that.
You looked at your tablet, didn't you? As opposed to a specific.
Oh, as opposed to a specific one. Sorry, I looked at my tablet, which I'd previously bought from Curry's. So I decided I've got one of these handheld devices. Let's call it a tablet. And on this tablet, it tells you where your phone is.
Like an iPad.
Can I...
So I checked the app, and sure enough, my phone was doing the little blinky thing, and it was in a street not too far from the restaurant. So I thought, oh, well, maybe my child hasn't taken this phone at all. Maybe it's been stolen. So I rung my mate up straight away, because I'm a coward. I didn't want to go on my own. So he held the iPad. We drove off, we followed the little dot, but then, when we got close, the dot started moving. So we have to follow the dot.
Right.
The dot gets on the M3, and we're following the dot on the M3.
Right.
And we travel for about 40 miles.
But Nicola could have noticed you in the rear-view mirror, saying, I'm being followed by 2 weird men.
I think you'll find on motorways you're often followed by the same car for quite a while. How paranoid are you? He's been behind us for the last 5 minutes. We're on a motorway, David. I know, but something's not right. There's one beside me now. I wasn't right behind it because the dot was moving and I was chasing the dot for a long time. When we were probably about 5 miles away from the dot, because the dot was racing off ahead, we raced after, stopped, and we sussed out that it was a service station on the M3. So we pulled into the service station, and that's when the next thing happened. Give me a minute.
How could you tell which of the many cars parked in the service station?
That's a very good question.
Thank you.
I wish I had a very good answer. I phoned the phone.
Ah, very clever.
And it's at that point we see a woman getting out of a car, looking confused, and then looking inside a bag, a shopping bag, takes the phone out. And at this point, I think, that's my phone. And she looks innocent because she's looking all confused. To which I go over, I say, that's my phone. And she said, I, honest to God, have no idea how it got in there. And then I start thinking the 2-year-old did pick it up and put it in the bag. And so ends the case for the defence.
Right, we need an answer. So, David's team, is Nicola Ben's bird botherer, Henning's boring babysitter, or Lee's phone pincher? What do you think?
I got a funny feeling about the crows.
Yeah, I love the idea that you're spending your free time wiggling your head in front of a crow, talking in a high-pitched voice.
So, sorry, you two are leaning towards believing the crows. I'm finding the crow story the least convincing at the moment. I'm not saying it's impossible.
Do you believe Lee?
As a matter of principle, no. I think it's probably Henning. I think Henning's could have been the sort of vicious little child who would have her babysitter summarily dismissed for no good reason at all.
Which way are you going, Alex?
Do you know what? I'm going to stick my neck on the line. I think Lee.
Am I even
You
getting
think
a
it's
look
Lee?
in?
Yeah.
Doom?
I initially thought it was Lee. Completely, from the very beginning, when I heard what the 3 things were, I went, it's definitely Lee.
I'm not going to overrule. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Henning. We'll go for Lee.
You're saying it's Lee with a little suspicion that it's Henning. OK. Nicola, would you please reveal your true identity?
My name is Nicola, and I taught Ben how to talk to crows.
Thank you very much, Nicola. Which brings us to our final round, Quickfire Lives. And we start with... It's David.
I recently shooed a fox out of the garden by squirting it with water. 5 minutes later, I watched in horror as it returned with its brother and ate my plimsoll.
Please, team. What do you think?
Never heard anything so middle class in all my life.
I want to picture it. So you're in your house and you see the fox in the garden. Now you don't, with the greatest respect, you don't strike me as overly nimble.
No, I'm not overly nimble, but I'm just nimble enough.
Between 1 and 10, how quickly were you in the garden?
I went out in the garden at top speed for me,
Yeah.
which I'm afraid is now 6.7.
Anyway, you come out into the garden, you've got the hose, you see
Yeah.
the fox.
And he sort of moves away a bit, shows a certain degree of fear of the alpha predator. He sees me and he thinks, "Do you know, I think I'm safe with this guy." And I thought, well, I can't have this. I can't have the fox thinking it's one. If I lose my power to frighten off foxes, what am I?
Can I answer that?
So I grab my hose and I swizzle some
down.
water at them. I don't want to soak the poor creature.
Did you put your thumb on the end?
So I did put my thumb on the end, and I directed some water sort of towards the lawn, just kind of between him and me.
Yeah.
And that's enough.
Right.
He's off.
I bet he went, after the fox went off, I bet he went.
Yeah.
I forgot he hadn't turned it off. Looked round sheepishly and thought, I better get those plimsolls.
Are you in your pyjamas?
I was wearing normal clothes.
Well, David, we've got a
And-
different opinion on
yeah,
what
just-
normal clothes
yes,
are. Did you?
It was black tie, not white tie.
So in a nutshell,
Yeah.
you had a fox in your garden, you come out, water the thing out the garden, then a little while later, it comes back.
Two of them come back.
Two of them.
Now,
Yeah.
where are you at this point?
I'm in the kitchen.
Right.
Noticing they've come back to the garden, thinking, dear, oh dear.
There was deer there as well.
And then the fox, and then one of the foxes goes and grabs this plimsoll that I keep by the shed.
Why?
For walking around the garden.
One plimsoll.
What? No, there's two. I keep two.
Tiny suggestion, why don't you keep the plimsolls near the back door so you don't have to get your feet wet if it's raining?
Well, you're full of home improvement ideas. I don't know, because I'm a moron.
What happens to the plimsoll?
One of them savages this shoe.
What's the other one doing?
I don't know. I don't speak fox.
If you want to do a proper impression of a fox, I know a woman, providing you're a tad gullible, will show you exactly. So go on. So
I said, "Hello, Mr. Fox. I'm trying to communicate with you. Perhaps you could stop pooing on my lawn."
Right, Lee, what are you thinking?
Fundamentally, no Englishman leaves a pair of plimsolls as his garden footwear and keeps them by a shed.
So you're saying it's
It's a lie.
a lie?
Yeah, I think it's a lie.
Well, I'll go with my team, even though I think it's true.
Saying it's a lie. OK, David. Squirting foxes in the garden, truth or lie?
It is a lie.
I thought it was a lie.
Yes, it's a lie. David didn't squirt water at a fox only for it to return and eat his plimsoll. Next. It's Doon.
On the advice of an optician, I often walk with one eye open and one eye shut. That way, one of my eyes is always having a rest.
Lee.
Well, it's sensible. Even if she isn't doing it, she should. I will from now on.
When you say a rest, you mean just to give your eye a rest, or because you're having problems with your eyes?
No, just to rest the eyes. So, because I don't wear glasses and I don't want to wear glasses. Right. So to exercise the eyes, it's good to just cover one eye. Now, I have worn a patch and just thought I look ridiculous.
But that doesn't make sense. The doctor wouldn't say to me, I don't want to end up in a wheelchair, or in that case, hop on different levels.
But don't you feel you strain your one eye that's still open?
Well, apparently not if you've got a slight stigmatism. So I didn't... Yes, I have got a slight stigmatism in my left...
Which eye is your stigmatism?
In my left eye.
I thought it was called an astigmatism.
Oh,
Well, it's
then
like you call-
I heard it wrong.
Yeah, but you call it a sausage. The thing isn't a sausage, is it? It's sausage, a sausage. Stigmatism, astigmatism.
Is it? Have I
It's
got
astigmatism.
astigmatism?
You've got astigmatism. You've got a sausage.
No. Ben is right. Ben went to Cambridge.
It's an astigmatism.
Well, I went to Cambridge once.
Isn't...
So what? We all know where Cambridge is. Can I ask you, how long do you do each eye for?
If I'm walking out, probably only about 2 or 3 minutes. Whereas if I'm inside, do it like that when you're working.
Oh, do you cover? You actually walk along like that down the street?
I have walked along like that. As I said, I did wear a patch at one point and felt stupid.
People must be thinking you've forgotten something when you...
When did the optician give you this advice?
Probably about 8 years ago when I started to get headaches.
Maybe he was busy. Was it like 5 to 5 and he was locking up? Just put your hand over this and go away. Was it like that?
He's one of the leading,
He's one of the leading...
eye specialists on Harley Street.
OK. What do you think, Lee?
I think she should have gone to Specsavers.
What's it going to be, then?
Well, I think that's the sort of thing people might do.
Now,
If
I want to know
you're
what you
any
mean.
good,
Do you mean the optician might say that?
No, they have got a reputation.
If you
for
don't
those.
believe that, then it's got to be a lie. Because she's saying he said that.
No, he wouldn't have said that.
Then it's a lie.
It's a lie, then.
And Ben, you think it's a lie, don't you?
It's not true. I mean, apart from anything, you go to Harley Street, you're paying a lot of money, the man's going to sell you some glasses, isn't he? He's not going to say, just walk down the street.
You'll say it's a lie.
Saying it's a lie. OK, so do. The eyes, the optician, Harley Street. Truth or lie?
It is... lie.
Yes, it's a lie. Doom doesn't walk with one eye open and one eye shut. And that noise signals time is up. It's the end of the show. And I can reveal that Lee's team have won by 3 points to 2. But, of course, it's not just a team game. And my individual liar of the week this week is Ben Miller.
Oh, fantastic.
Ben Miller. When it comes to lying, I'm ashamed to say he's so shameless it's shameful, which is a shame. Good night.
There's a murder to solve and DCI Matthias is running out of time. The much-awaited final part of Hinterland is next here on BBC One Wales.